But Grom does not care, because I just realized the Wood Elves have invaded Paravent, and little did they know I had already developed a parasocial relationship with that exact settlement, and their invasion of it unofficially and then officially meant war. With our army still chubbed up from our favorite button, I decided to invade.
I love that he's just like, yeah, I was already about to target that one, and I know I didn't do it, but I was going to, so now you have to die while I conquer, okay? There is never enough. More is the answer, especially if you're an orc. Most say or think that orcs are expendable creatures. I say they're expandable, and Reggie's here to prove exactly why. Among the list of factions in TW3, orcs, exist. Chaotic little gremlins who aren't technologically advanced, but rather creative in their endeavors. So how does one weaponize obesity? I have no idea, and I don't want to be on the receiving end. So before we're disgustingly bored, apologies, make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and let's get into it.
The gameplay of Warhammer 3 is an obvious allegory for America and its obesity crisis. You start as one of 437 different races and immediately begin killing everyone that looks even remotely different than you. Why? Because unless you're some kind of clown-shoed idiot, your short and long-term goal is world domination. You can play as the humble humans. They're great if you have a low moral barometer and a sexual attraction to artillery pieces. But maybe you'd rather be an anemic sex criminal instead. The dwarves have you covered. And if all else fails, you can always play as a colony of Twitter users. Fascinating creatures. In reality, it doesn't matter which faction you choose, because much like a cocaine-infused stockbroker, you will inevitably develop an unhealthy relationship with watching numbers go up. Your borders can always be bigger, your income always higher, and of course you can always accumulate more mass. In a world where there is a one-to-one correlation between your charge damage and your BMI, suddenly being morbidly obese has become the greatest superpower of all. And when it comes to being immensely fat, no one does it better than Grom the Paunch. This heaving green mass of cholesterol is not only sentient, but he's one.
That's so gross. I'm sorry. It's just, why has he got like 12 nipples? I hate that. Why? They're so nasty. I have a genuine question. Those of you who like orcs, do you just look past the, well, that? How do you look past that? How do you look past something that consumes your entire screen? I can't. Nope.
Better than Grom the Paunch. This heaving green mass of cholesterol is not only sentient, but he's one of the strongest units in the game. Men want to be him, women want to be with him, and today, I am him. Immediately upon loading, it became clear that I have entered my own personal hell, because I am surrounded on all sides by the French. Jesus Christ, even the vampires are French. I solved this conundrum through careful diplomacy, and by careful diplomacy, I mean I had an obese man drive over their heads in a chariot. With our first enemy fended off, we can now participate in the real gameplay, creating strange and elaborate mukbangs to help Grom on his personal mission to tantalize the Vor community. As you can see here, Grom is starving, obviously, and we're going to need to make him some food. To do this, we need to acquire several obscure ingredients from around the world, which will almost certainly necessitate the eradication of countless civilizations, but their sacrifice is one I am willing to make. Our goal is to create and consume all foods, at which point our purpose in life will be complete, and Grom can die peacefully from a convulsion-inducing heart attack. For now,
yeah, a lot of people are doing this, like, Crelly challenge. I'm sure that word may just immediately trigger some of you and be like, oh, I know that. Everybody's doing that thing. And I'm over here like, I'm just looking at, like, the amount of calories, the amount of sugar, the amount of carbs. None of it is good for you. It's McDonald's. I can't fit that amount of food in my body. I just can't. So watching people actually attempt it, which of their own volition they are allowed to, I just hope they're, you know, informed. Because there's a point where eating more than one burger becomes painful. How does one fit so much food inside them? I can't.
is one I am willing to make. Our goal is to create and consume all foods, at which point our purpose in life will be complete, and Grom can die peacefully from a convulsion-inducing heart attack. For now, the easiest way to collect ingredients is to just kill everyone we meet and sort out the tasty parts later. To accomplish this, I have launched a brave and courageous eugenics program, whereby whenever a French army spawns, I kill it immediately. My fringe scientific beliefs eventually led me to Bordelot, where we were ambushed by a large quantity of Frenchmen. In such moments, the game will try to gaslight you into believing you're at risk of losing. Allow me to show you why this is literally impossible. As greenskins, you have a wide selection of characters, buttons, and settings, but only one of them is actually worth pressing, because when your total lack of brain activity inevitably causes you to start losing a battle, I want you to slam your forehead through the emergency glass and press this button. The WA button instantly buffs your entire army and heals it for 50% of its health. With such immense power, we can effectively neglect any tactical decision making and instead focus on meaningful gameplay decisions, such as using a homeless lady to vomit on unsuspecting peasants. Following this, we were given a quest by a decapitated...
So, like, does her vomit dissolve them? It sure looks acidic. There's no way that it doesn't. She ruined their meal. I'm expecting a French fry joke, though. He's surrounded by French fries. Literally, it wrote itself.
Lady to vomit on unsuspecting peasants. Following this, we were given a quest by a decapitated head, which my psychiatrist assures me is not normal. Regardless, after completing said quest, we were awarded with a stone golem, which is definitely not overpowered to have on turn 4. After that, we invaded Castle Bordelot and successfully renovated it into a heaping pile of shit. Understandably upset by this, our French enemies launched one final assault on us, armed with Odo and 39 people he found at the bus stop. This was a poor decision on their part. The rapid expansion of our empire had regrettably drawn the attention of the Greater Francophone hive mind, which caused the Fey Enchantress to declare war on us. She attacked us with an army of mounted knights. However, we have the
pause. The bugs upset her, so instead of fighting the bugs, she's fighting orc. Did I understand that correctly? I feel bad. If I didn't hear it correct, that's fine. I'm gonna give myself a second chance. Empire
had regrettably drawn the attention of the Greater Francophone hive mind, which caused the Fey Enchantress to declare war on us.
So I did hear that correctly. What? Kind of. Okay, it's fine. That doesn't make sense, but you have to keep in mind she's a woman. Whatever, I guess. Maybe she just doesn't like bugs, and she needs to express her anger toward the orcs. She's gonna die. And then she'll never be bothered by bugs again.
She attacked us with an army of mounted knights. However, we have the perfect and most dangerous counter to cavalry, a 15-degree incline. The very concept of a non-uniform Earth caused her cavalry to absolutely lose their minds and enter a profound state of psychosis. In response, I did the only humane thing possible, which was to complete an industrial amount of mercy killings. With the Fey Enchantress now defeated, it is time to break several international treaties by ingesting our enemies. It's around this time people you don't know will start paying you extortion money you didn't ask for. By this point, our reputation had increased enough to allow us to press the only other button that matters in the game, call to Wa. By pressing this, we can designate a city to destroy and double the size of all of our armies for 20 turns. If Grom was a car, this would be the equivalent of not only uninstalling his brakes, but replacing them with another acceleration pedal. I chose Castle Carcassonne as our target and plowed Grom into it at 300 miles per hour. Needless to say, there were no survivors. This was the last of our enemies' territories, which effectively rendered them homeless. And in this game, much like in real life, for every turn you are homeless, you slowly but noticeably decompose a little more. But Grom does not care, because I just realized the Wood Elves had invaded Paravent. And little did they know, I had already developed a parasocial relationship with that exact settlement, and their invasion of it unofficially and then officially meant war. With our army still chubbed up from our favorite button, I decided to invade.
I love that he's just like, yeah, I was already about to target that one. And I know I didn't do it, but I was going to. So now you have to die while I conquer, okay? Mine. I've gotten that way so many times. Genuinely, that is insanely relatable. Yeah. That doesn't make me mean, though. Nah. They're NPCs. They can't feel things.
And then officially meant war. With our army still chubbed up from our favorite button, I decided to invade the Wood Elf territories. Fighting the Wood Elves is a lot like fighting the Viet Cong. You are going to be shot by people you can't see, develop a rational fear of trees, and then experience PTSD for the rest of your life. It's a dirty job, but someone has to do it because they're dangerous. I mean, would you really trust your kids around this man?
No.
I didn't think so. We marched right into their camp.
I'm sorry, what was that? Game Grumps? Was that Aaron Hansen with Dan Sexbang giggling? Hold on.
Day 3, my Goomba was shocking my cock.
I don't know. I feel like it may have, but that the person laughing in the back didn't sound like Dan, so it might have been an older clip. Maybe Steam Train? JonTron? If anyone knows, please let me know in the comments, okay? I'm not gonna stop thinking about that. I've heard it before, but I was never a big YouTube person. And I only watched like Game Grumps and Steam Train and Rubber Ross, all that fun stuff. It sounds awfully familiar. I know that line. It's gonna kill me. I'm gonna be stuck on this for the rest of the video. I'm sorry. I'm truly terrible.
I didn't think so. We marched right into their capital and began our siege. I deployed my army in no particular order, but still managed to crush the Wood Elves under the weight of 8,000 goblin spearmen. Oh, and we also did this to them. They really didn't like that. I would occupy the settlement, but it's just so goddamn disgusting I decided to leave and never come back. By this point, we collected 8 ingredients. A good start, but we still have a lot of work to do. Fortunately, a food merchant appeared on the map to help us out. There's a couple of ways to interact with the food merchant. For example, we can buy ingredients from her, rob her for money, or cook food for her in exchange for upgrades to our cauldron. I chose the last option. However, the food merchant speaks exclusively in some kind of goblin ebonics, which makes it just about impossible to decipher what the fuck she is actually saying. But we can do—
I feel like she's a weird orc kind of southern, because that looked kind of southern. Me wants something with flying gubbins. A dish what needs 3 things in it. Okay, that's not southern. No. It's like British, almost. Very heavy accent. I've heard very, very, very heavy European accents. Something along that line. Still, mysterious language is mysterious.
Which makes it just about impossible to decipher what the fuck she is actually saying. But we can deal with that later. We have more important things to tend to. A man we don't know explained he wants to kill us. Ikid is still paying us money to leave him alone. And the most French man to have ever lived declared war on us. It's around this time you will realize playing Grom the Paunch is effectively an exercise in resistance. The rest of the world is staging a violent intervention to prevent us from eating ourselves into a diabetic coma, and we must resist. To this effect, I hired a new commander, Gorebirds, and gave him an army. I put Gorebirds in charge of the neighborhood watch, which meant that roughly once every 5 turns, he would see Orion and subsequently beat him to death for trying to leave the enchanted forest. This worked very well, and it allowed Grom to plow northward, eventually defeating Luan in a series of battles that could only be described as unethical. By this point, we had effectively converted the—
I'm awfully curious. It was sort of a random question, but not really. How many of you play this game and just don't touch anything on the screen during a battle? Like, do you put like full faith into your troops, or do you feel the need to baby them and like hold their hand? Because I feel like you can reach a point where you don't have to touch anything, and I'd love to know what that point would look like. And we might find that out today. I don't know. But I would like to see it. Yeah.
Series of battles that could only be described. Grom to plow northward, eventually defeating Luan in a series of battles that could only be described as unethical. By this point, we had effectively converted the French countryside into something vaguely resembling Canada. But there's still one issue. Quebec. I declared war on the undead and began ransacking their armies. I'd like to say it is very difficult to kill a ghost with a catapult. but
It
not
is very
impossible.
hard.
With most of Bretonia now thoroughly under our control, I decided
Not
to do
impossible?
two very important things. First, I researched a revolutionary artillery platform that allows me to dress my goblins up like cute little trick-or-treaters. Look at him. He thinks he's a bat. But don't get too
so
attached,
cute.
and definitely don't name them, because they have pledged fealty to the Empire of the Rising Sun, and the next thing we're doing is launching them from a catapult as kamikaze dive bombers. Because after all, why bother buying explosives when you can be the explosive?
You
Apart from
are
this,
the
I sent one of my
explosive,
armies out to
indeed.
explore the wonderful and enchanting ocean in search of delicious aquatic ingredients, and they were killed immediately by
Hard-shell
Somali
crab.
pirates. This didn't upset me as much as it caused me to fly into a blind rage and immediately begin building the most immoral army possible in an effort to punish the world for my misfortune.
Well, I mean, shouldn't you've already had an immoral army? I think that's where you first messed up. If the first one wasn't immoral, then what was it? Not an army. Nah, man. You gotta go all in.
Building the most
Please.
immoral army possible in an effort to punish the world for my misfortune. 11 snotling pump wagons and 8 trebuchets. Don't mind if I do. To be clear,
Smuggling
I
pump
don't even want to play
wagons.
this army, because microing 11 cavalry units requires a level of attention that I am simply not capable of. You see, my
Yeah.
brain is powered by a single Nigerian man running on a hamster wheel, and I fear that managing this army may in fact result in his death. But we'll never be able to
No!
achieve our dream of congestive heart failure if we aren't willing to make a few sacrifices. So
True.
let's continue. With our French enemies now
Replace
lying in
him?
various stages of decomposition, I took a few turns to figure out our place in the world, which is apparently 22nd. That's right, we're not even on the podium, but we can fix that with one simple trick. Another call
that's
to
pretty
law. By
high.
literally doubling our standing military, we've gone from rank 22 to rank 3. This is troubling because it means there are 2 other factions that are more than twice as powerful as us. Regardless, I
Yeah.
can't risk our food quest being jeopardized by a larger
No.
faction, so we have to become the larger faction, which means that some people need to die. If you
Expand.
recall, about 20 turns ago, the dwarves body-shamed Grom pretty viciously, and that shit doesn't fly around here, so
No.
we're going to go stab them to death with spears. I declared their capital city as the target of our war and began assembling my armies. I decided it might be beneficial
Good.
to have a path into the Dwarven Mountains, and the only one available was through the Wood Elves. So I opted to kill Orion
Kill
and
all
take
of
his
them.
fancy little treehouse. Unfortunately, this caused Findal to become scared, and he declared war on us. So we killed
Okay.
him, which resulted in
Yeah.
Daith becoming frightened and declaring war on us.
Oh.
So we killed him too. But then Durthu
I love that the natural, like the train of thought for the AI is, I'm scared. I feel threatened. Kill them. It's so far, it's not run away. So I'm sorry, I cannot insert Monty Python. Run away, run away. But it's just really funny. I mean, it takes a lot to work up the courage, especially when you're scared to declare war on the thing you're scared of.
which resulted in Daith becoming
That's
frightened
rough,
and
man.
declaring war
That's
on us.
rough.
So we killed him too. But then
Yep.
Durthu got upset, so we had to kill him, which
Yep.
caused both Ellen and Eltharion to get upset.
Yep.
But unfortunately, we haven't researched intercontinental ballistic missiles, so we'll
No.
kill them later. By the end of it,
Yeah.
I had personally slaughtered 10,079 people just to get to the dwarves.
Oh.
If I was a dwarf, I would be mildly concerned by that statistic. Helman Gorst certainly was,
Yeah.
because he attempted to befriend me by donating 300 gold. Obviously,
not
I
enough.
accepted and then declared war on him immediately after.
Oh.
It's not personal, Hellman. I just really need a test subject for the meme team. So I invaded his settlement. Honestly, the army is beautiful in a Francisco Goya kind of way. 11
Yeah.
squadrons of deranged mushroom enthusiasts being supported by 24 catapults. It's all I've ever wanted. The game plan is to entangle the
dream
pump
come
wagons
true.
with the enemy forces and cause a large-scale traffic jam in the middle of the map. Once that has been accomplished, the pump wagons will call in an artillery strike on their own position, thus
Good.
obliterating everything in the process. Needless to say,
Yeah.
this was very entertaining to witness.
Oh,
This is
they're
such a
so
fucking stupid army.
cute.
And after 15 minutes of
Okay, look. Orcs are still ugly to me. I'm sorry. But it is absolutely adorable. It is absolutely adorable how they just put their little brains to work, and instead of, getting smarter, they work harder for the same result or similar or even better result. Like, instead of building things and upping that int stat. It's nah, man. I'm the weapon. It's me. I'm the bomb. Shoot me from the catapult. It makes sense. They're so cute. They're so cute and so creative. I love them.
This is such a fucking stupid
It's the goofiest
army. And after
army to be
15
afraid
minutes of bulldozing zombies and pelting them with mini fridge-sized rocks, we had managed to kill 1,812 enemies. They had managed to kill 34, seemingly not at all demoralized by losing a battle with a casualty ratio of 53-1. Hellman kept attacking us. You'd think his original defeat would have taught him a lesson, but some people, they have to learn the same lesson over and over. And over. Eventually, we managed to send Hellman to the retirement home in the sky when Grom broke every bone in his body by hitting him with a car. That was a fun distraction.
Well,
now, back to the
retirement home
dwarves.
is-
With direct access to the Dwarven Mountains, I was able to send Gorebirds to Karak Izor and Karak Bufdar to claim them for my food empire. I even managed to find a new ingredient in the process. The main Dwarven army was actually located to the south at Maragliano, where they were busy harassing my Skaven submissive. I sent Gorebirds down there to sort things out. Their army
Submissive
actually looked a little
Skavens.
intimidating because they have Apache attack helicopters, but unfortunately for them, we have people who are willing to destroy their helicopters by launching themselves headfirst into the propellers.
Those are not propellers. I mean, they are, but those are scythes. What do you mean? That was like the best idea for a threatening airship. Have the propellers be blades. Because why not? Literal scythes. That is adorable. Well, not adorable. That's terrifying. But like, you know what I mean? That's so creative. I love that.
Intimidating because
Oops,
they
I
have
went back 10
Apache attack
seconds.
helicopters, but unfortunately for them, we have people who are willing to destroy their helicopters by launching themselves
destroying
headfirst into the
themselves.
propellers. After a little more careful diplomacy, we managed to defeat the dwarf army. The loss of 90% of their military and
That's
3 of
wild.
their largest cities caused them to drop from strength rank 15 to rank 103, and we went all the way up to rank 2. Very cool. While this was going on, I stumbled across another
Almost
food
won.
merchant with a substantially less cryptic food request. She wants a pie. I can do that. The only
Any
issue
kind
is
of
we don't
pie.
really have any conventional pie ingredients, so we're
Mushroom
going to have to
pie.
push the theoretical boundaries on what exactly it means to be a pie. For example, is a severed foot submerged in a vial of semen a pie? Apparently it is, and she loved it. With that, we have now unlocked a new
Ew.
ingredient slot, which will allow
I think that is definitely not a pie. But she absolutely has a foot kink. And you satiated it. Imagine unintentionally satiating someone's disgusting. Ugh. No, I'm okay. Cum covered foot. Ugh, I can't believe that came out my mouth. I'm not judging those who do have that kink, by the way. But for me personally, I'm not a feet person. Although my feet look great right now, actually. I have French tips. Anyway, I'm just not a feet person. Also, that's a meal. You don't eat that. Please don't eat feet. That's not normal. You can like feet, just don't eat them.
pie. Apparently it is, and she loved it. With that, we have now unlocked a new ingredient slot, which will allow us to make more potent food going forward.
Good.
For example, we can
Surf and
combine
turf.
monster goo with troll meat and phoenix claws to produce the following. Grom gets 100 weapon damage and sundering attacks. Our goblins get a regeneration ability as well as flaming arrows, and our trolls get sexually transmitted diseases. That's pretty good. Now with 12 foods, I think it's time to conduct
Yeah,
our
we're
ingredient
getting
hunt in
there.
a more deliberate manner. Each of the 13 remaining food items actually tells us how to get them. For example, to
Really?
unlock harpy heads, we have to sack a dark elf settlement. That doesn't
No,
sound
not
too
the
hard
dark
until you
elves.
realize the closest dark elf settlement is across the fucking ocean. So at this point, the game turns into a scavenger hunt, but with substantially more violence. I figured the best
Yeah.
approach to this would be to divide and conquer, so I've elected 3 generals to lead the expedition to the grocery store that is this world. First, we have Rachnik
This
Spiderclaw.
world is
He's
a
a unique
grocery
lord that
store.
provides special buffs to spider-based units in his
my
army.
God.
So I equipped him with a highly diverse army of goblins, goblins riding spiders,
And
and
more
goblins riding
goblins.
really big spiders that can also summon
Dang.
additional smaller spiders.
Oh.
Next, we have Gorebirds. I've specialized him
I like
into
that.
providing buffs for trolls and giants, so his army is composed mostly of totally normal and socially well-adjusted individuals. Then we have
Yes, yes,
Oglok
they
the
are.
Horrible, who is specialized in the use of weaponized pigs.
Pig.
Between
wink.
these three geniuses, I
Bacon.
feel very confident in our chances of tracking down the final
gonna
ingredients.
die?
But first, I need to steal 30 seconds of your time to coerce you into developing a caffeine addiction. I've recently struck up a partnership with GamerSups, which is a company that sells delicious energy supplements
Gently
and
coercing
100%
yourself.
socially acceptable
Speaking of
receptacles to put them in.
GamerSups,
In fact,
I'm gonna
just last
drink.
week, I went to an ultra-orthodox bar mitzvah with a shaker cup full of titty milk. Everyone there was clearly
you should
jealous
have.
because they couldn't stop asking me questions such as, "Who are you?" and "How did you get in here?" This level of popularity
How did
could
you
be
get in
yours
here?
if only you are
Don't
brave
worry
enough
about
to
it.
wield a waifu cup to your next family gathering. If this interests you,
I have unashamedly, actively used my waifu cups in public, in front of family, in front of friends, displayed them proudly, even in front of strangers who have come to visit, who I've never met before. Yep. Very proudly. Don't hide that. Because at the end of the day, it's just a vessel you use to drink from that makes you happy all at the same time. Never hesitate. Also, they have bleach flavors now, which is insane. Okay?
encourage you
I'm
to
just
visit
saying.
the link on screen or in the
I'm
pinned
just saying.
comment and use code Reggie for 10% off. Thank you, GamerSups. Now, let's get back to the video. While I was recruiting the units for my new army, I decided to start the scavenger hunt with Grom and Gorebirds. The first and easiest ingredient to
I
find
love that
was
his name is
goldfish. All I had to do was
Gorebirds.
sack an Empire settlement. No problem. In fact, the
Easy.
Empire is really struggling this game. Somehow they've become loosely subjugated by Vlad von Karstein, who is
Of
strength
course they
rank
have.
4. This presented
Oh my
me with
God.
a unique dilemma. Our previous wars have been successful, and they awarded me with a big trophy, but not the biggest trophy.
want a
That could
bigger
only
trophy.
be attained by defeating a top 10 enemy, such as
Oh.
Vlad von Karstein. I didn't
Yeah.
need to declare war on him, but in a much
But do
more
it
real
anyway.
way, I really wanted to. So in an act of wanton gluttony, I created a new war targeting Vlad's capital city, and over the
Big
next 20
wah.
turns, Grom and Gorebirds carved their way through the undead region. Vlad himself was an
Good.
unkillable monstrosity who could best be
Really?
described as a bipedal euthanasia factory.
Oh,
Fortunately
oh
for
no.
us, he suffers from a crippling degree of separation anxiety, and if you kill all of his friends, he will literally disintegrate. Once we
What?
worked out that critical flaw, Grom was able to fight his way to Castle Drakenhof,
That's
which he
horrible.
claimed through
Poor
the use
guy.
of really big ladders and lots of violence. By this point, the war had geographically bisected the undead.
I love Total Warhammer's like art style. Like, it's not insanely hyper realistic. It's still cartoony, it's goofy, but still detailed all at the same time. I really like it. That is another like thing that draws me to the game overall is just the art. But I ask myself, do I really have the time? And then I get sad. And then I get sad because I definitely don't. Unfortunately.
Grom was able to fight his way to Castle Drakenhof, which he claimed through the use of really big ladders and lots of violence.
Good.
By this point, the war had geographically bisected the undead faction. As you can imagine, this was not good for the economy. In
No,
fact,
it's
the only
horrible for
units
the
Vlad could
economy.
afford to recruit were level 1 zombies. That being said, he could afford a lot of level 1 zombies. I know this
That is
because
a
the next
lot.
thing he did was attack me with 5,017 of them. I would spend 20
Oh my
minutes
God.
slowly chopping my way through thousands of undead, only
That
to be
is
greeted
so
by
many.
enemy reinforcements have arrived, and
Oh
the
my
sight
God.
of thousands more on the horizon. There's something
How do
vaguely
you get
traumatic
hold
about
of
fighting an enemy
5,000?
that, despite being flattened, perforated, and impaled, just keeps on coming. The only good thing
Ooh,
about having to
it's
kill 5,000
disturbing.
people is that once you're done, apparently you get $17,000. Anyway, with this victory, the vampires
Wait
were
a second, I
relegated
can
to
handle that.
geopolitical obscurity, and I can now sleep at night because I have the biggest trophy. By this
biggest
point, my recruiting
trophy.
was complete, so I decided to send Rachnik and Oglok to the far corners of the map to collect a few ingredients. Oglok would go to the jungles of the southeast to find lizard legs, winged leather, and Centaur milk.
I'm curious how long it takes to travel in this game. Because it sounds like it takes a long time just based off of the tone that Reggie uses and, you know, when speaking of having to go across the map, which is across the ocean. Does it take an unhealthy amount of time, or can you just like ×8 speed it? Which one is it? Is it really, really long or really, really short? Or just inconvenient? It's okay to be inconvenienced. I get it.
Go to the jungles of the southeast to find lizard legs, winged leather, and centaur milk.
Yeah,
Rachnik, on the other hand, would be
milk,
exploring the
I'm
ocean
sure.
in search of hardshell crab, pufferfish, and harpy heads. Rachnik sailed successfully across the ocean, eventually
heads are
arriving
easy.
in Lustria, where we sacked a pirate settlement to receive hardshell crab. I attempted to
Good.
kill Luther Harkon for additional ingredients, but quickly realized that an army of funny green men on spiders was no match for an army of cannons. 5
Nope.
turns later, Rachnik had been resurrected, and now with a slightly more responsible build, we sailed up the coast to the Dark Elves and absolutely obliterated one of their settlements to gain harpy heads. I thought it would be kind of awkward
All
to
for a
try and
head.
explain that I burnt their city to the ground for some
For a head.
sandwich meat, so instead,
Yep.
I pretended to be a warmongering maniac. After defeating one of their armies, we also acquired Dragontail. This is objectively the
Ooh.
best ingredient if you are not just trying to
Dragontail.
defeat your enemies, but also psychologically destroy them, because dragon
I gotta hand it to the orcs. They're literally conquering the world just so that they can have a better meal. Like, they just want to cook, man. Let them cook. You know, couldn't you just establish amicable trading and relationships and receive these items that way? Or is it solely through destruction? Which one? Because, either way, I approve.
one of their
Either
armies,
way.
we also acquired Dragontail. This is objectively the best ingredient if you are not just trying to defeat your enemies, but also psychologically destroy them. Because Dragontail
I like
makes
that.
all of your goblins fire explosive ammunition. Of course, this is
Oh.
perfectly balanced and not at all unfair
It
when
is
you have
perfectly
12 stacks of
balanced.
archers. Apart from this,
Yes.
we also found the Sword of Cain. Apparently, it's an immensely powerful weapon that slowly drives its wielder
madness
insane.
of Cain.
So obviously, I had to have it. Following this, Rachnik returned to the Maelstrom to exact his revenge
Small
upon the pirates.
sacrifice.
After a little bit of this, and a lot of that, he had his
Oh.
last ingredient. Pufferfish. While this was going on, I stumbled upon a hilariously awful dwarf army composed entirely of rock miners. I thought it would be kind of ironic to kill them with rocks. So I did.
Aw,
Say whatever you want about
that's just mean, man. That's just mean. I don't think they were trying to do anybody any harm. If anything, they were holding the economy on top of their backs. That's just mean, Reggie, man.
to kill them
That's
with
just
rocks.
mean.
So I did.
No.
Say whatever you want about me, but I will literally kill 900 midgets for even the smallest amount of observational humor. But that's beside the point. Let's see how
That's
Oglok is
messed up.
doing. You might think Rachnik had it hard being
But at
shot
least
to
he's
death with
self-aware.
cannons at the start of his food quest, but Oglok had it even worse. Within the first 5 turns of him being alive, he was attacked by ogres, contracted the plague, and the hospital he was recovering in was hit by several rocket barrages from ultranationalist humans. This resulted in the immediate death of about half of his army. After
That's
recovering, I sent him
horrible.
south to harvest ingredients from the lizard men, which was when this happened. Yeah, that's really not good.
What is that?
The Black Pyramid of Nagash has awakened, spawning 9 late-game armies that are hostile to everything, and especially to Oglok, who just happens to be like 50 feet away. But that's when I realized something. To unlock the milk ingredient, we have to kill a creature with 6 limbs. These Necrosphinx have 6 limbs. That's right, boys. We're gonna milk a Necrosphinx.
You have to engage with a cracked army from God knows where, and I don't even know the condition that which triggered them, but that's fine. That sounds really bad, though. 9 whole armies? 9? Reggie, you only have like 3? 4? I believe in you. Maybe. Maybe.
6 limbs. These
Possibly.
Necrosphinx have 6 limbs. That's right, boys. We're gonna milk a Necrosphinx.
That's gross.
I don't physically know how, but I do know we'll be needing some help. So I captured a settlement in the region and formed 2 new armies, led
Testicles,
by Bladub
right?
Spidakilla and Gorfe... Okay, We're just gonna call him Gorf. Anyway, the boys ambushed one of the skeleton armies, and after encircling it, we managed to milk the Necrosphinx. That is definitely not a euphemism for group masturbation.
No,
this was
it's
technically a
not.
success, but we had to use 5,500 people to do it, so I was still pretty frightened. I opted to ignore the end of the world and instead focus on attacking the lizard men. We needed to kill their stegodon for lizard legs and their pterodactyls for leather. This would normally be difficult if we didn't have 9 stacks of black orcs, which are the objective best counter to every unit in the game. Following this victory, we now have 23 out of 25 ingredients.
correct.
All that's left is tentacles and lion meat. For the tentacles, we have to sack a Norscan settlement. Vikings, meet 12 catapults.
Oof.
Wow, they
Anything
get
for
along
food.
so well. For the final ingredient, we just need to defeat an army containing lions. The best I could find was this high elf doom stack, so I drove Grom into it head first.
Good.
The battle was actually fairly challenging, mostly because we were outnumbered and my AI reinforcements decided to deploy their army backwards, sprint into the woods, and die. Fortunately, by this point, Grom had so
that's
many layers
lovely.
of protective fat that he was functionally invincible, and we managed to eke out a victory. Hundreds of thousands had to die, but we have finally completed our grocery
the
list.
entire
All that's left now
list.
is to cook every possible dish and feed them to Grom. The only
All
issue
of
is,
them.
for some reason, Goblin cuisine requires large quantities of scrap metal, and we have spent most of ours on upgrading our units. So
Oh,
we
the
need to do
scrap
a
is
little
for the
farming.
plate
Luckily,
and
raiding
fork and
enemy
knife.
territory produces scrap, so I took 3 of my armies and sent them to raid Volkmar the Grim, because he's kind of an uppity asshole.
I
Yeah.
would lay down my life if it would rid the world of you and your kind.
He sounds like Dr. Eggman. And I have a really hard time unhearing it because he kind of looks like him too. So like, yeah, go ahead. It's fine. Whatever.
I would
Sorry,
lay down
Eggman.
my life if it would rid the world of you and your kind.
Go back to the moon,
Every
dude.
single turn, we were stealing 125% of his city's entire GDP, resulting in the kind of economic devastation that is only ever theorized in
noticed.
textbooks. Anyway, I've got my scrap, and I spent the next 8 turns feeding Grom the most bizarre food combinations I could come up with, and by the end of
Good.
it, he was officially bloated and unstoppable. It's a happy ending for
Yummy.
everyone, unless your name is
Grom.
Vlad von Karstein, Heinrich Kemmler, Daith Durthu, Findal Orion, Count Noctilus, Luther Harkon, Karl Franz, Belgro Ironhammer,
He went through the
Tic-Tac-Toe, the
whole
Black Pyramid of
list.
Nagash, Marathi, Scrag the Slaughterer, Throg, Eltharion, or anyone even remotely French. I want to thank
Yep.
this month's patrons
No
for making
French.
these videos possible, and finally,
don't
thank you
exist.
for watching.
Hey! Thank you, Reggie! Oh man, I do like these Total Warhammer videos. Oh dear. Thank you for tuning in to another Neko Reacts. So, what about Total Warhammer 3 tickles your brain wrinkle like it tickles mine? Let me know in the comments below. Until then, please leave a like, subscribe to the universe, and I'll see you in the next one. Mandanya! Bye bye!